In some ways, quite honestly, you can look at the end of the Carroll era because his inability in the division to beat Shanahan, to beat McVay, to beat this system. A huge game for Geno Smith, who's lost his last 5 to these guys, the one team he's not been able to beat. What is it about San Francisco that has presented so many issues to the Seahawks?
Well, I think, first of all, it's just been a mismatch up front, and really, when you look at their defensive front, that's been able to exploit them up front. And the only thing, and I've been, as you guys know, I am on board. I love the direction the Seahawks are going, but watching what Dexter Lawrence did to them last week was not encouraging. So that's the line of scrimmage team when you play the Niners, and they're not playing great right now. They have a feel of a team that's bored in the regular season and is just trying to cruise to get to the postseason where to try and exercise the demons. I'm sure they'll flip a switch and crank it up a little bit at some point in time, but they're not playing with the same level of intensity and passion that you normally see from that group. But in the past, I really think that's been a line of scrimmage issue more than anything else in that matchup.
I think we were prepared for the idea that someone like Dexter Lawrence would, cause a problem for the Seahawks offense. Like this offensive line, that defensive line. I think most Seahawks fans could, when confronted with that, say, I get it. I think what was so confusing or upsetting about what happened on Sunday was the Giants offense, which no one has a lot of respect for, especially missing their best wide receiver and their starting running back, just taking it to this Seahawks defense. What's going on with this run defense? They couldn't stop anything.
Yeah, it was interesting because one of the first things I watched this week was I saw the stats, and I'm like, anytime you have a rookie running back go for over 100 yards, and Tyrone Tracy, who was a receiver at Purdue before moving to running back, and I remember going through the scouting process with him, but I saw the yards, and so I was like, man, I want to watch this and see, there's going to be some incredible runs in here and making guys miss and breaking tackles, and I'm like, nope, they just kind of gashed them. It was just kind of took the yards that were there. I didn't think it was anything too special on the running back's part. It was just they were able to crease them a little bit. In watching that offense with the Giants, I think sometimes, and Brock, I'd love to know if you have experiences like this, but it just felt like Brian Daboll called a perfect game and was just he found that little zone. They were screening them when they needed to screen them. Then they play action them and expand them. They kind of found a target in Trey Brown that they liked and went at him repeatedly. I just felt like, and then they gashed him in the run game. I thought Brian Daboll, that was as well a coached offensive game considering the personnel that was deployed as I've seen this year.
Yeah, I was super excited a few years ago when Daboll was the OC for the Bills, and I got a Seahawks-Bills game. I get to work in the NFL. It's during COVID. I got bumped over to the NFL. I can't wait to do this game on TV, and I want to say they came out and threw it 28 straight times, and it looked like 7-on-7, and absolutely torched the Seahawks in a game they could have won 60-0 and thrown for 900 yards. I remember that corner. Do you remember that corner, Salk? He was like a free agent. Oh, gosh, it was the same thing. I mean, they just picked and they picked and they picked and they picked. They did the same to Trey Brown. Daboll's really, really good. But here's how I want to spin this, DJ.
Yeah.
A little bit of adversity for Mike Macdonald and Ryan Grubb, who have handled it beautifully. Grubb said, on me, total accountability. A little bit of adversity. In your years of being in the league and in front offices, do you remember a time or two with maybe a young coach where there was some real adversity, like for the first time, and you either saw that young coach, coordinator, head coach really rise to the occasion or watch him crumble? And what was maybe the sauce behind that?
I go back to, and it wasn't a team that I was with, but I was in the division for 6 years, which was Mike Tomlin. And everybody's seen the consistency that Mike Tomlin's had and the longevity that he's had, and he's widely regarded as one of the elite coaches in the league and has been for a long time. People don't remember when he started out there, like you're replacing a legend in Cowher who just had a ton of success. And the expectations in that organization obviously are sky high. And I think early on, it was kind of like, well, he's kind of switching how they play defense a little bit. He's, is this guy just a motivational coach? And they lost some games early. I think it was in the transition, maybe from over to Ben when Ben was a rookie. and it was just kind of like, oh, okay, well, they might have whiffed on this one. And then he was so consistent in his messaging and his intense, kind of intense focus that he had there, that he just kind of ran right through the turmoil. Like, he didn't stop and question himself or how he's doing things, or do I need to go and adjust to the way they've always done things here. And he just kind of plowed through with his message, and I think that was a very key moment for him early on in his coaching career, and he stayed true to who he is, and that's why he's had so much longevity and so much success.
One of the reasons, and I love that answer, by the way, it's something we've been talking about over the last couple of days, is, this is the first real adversity that's faced Mike Macdonald since he got here. How he handles that, I'm sure, will dictate a lot of his future here as Seahawks head coach. One of the reasons he was brought in here was to match wits with guys like Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan. He gets his first shot against Shanahan tonight, or tomorrow night, rather. What do you expect that matchup to look like? What will those guys do against each other?
Well, everything's going to be predicated on how they can run the ball. I mean, the Niners have gone to a little bit more, pure drop back stuff as Purdy's gotten more confident. I think almost that Shanahan's just looking to explore new things. I don't want to say he got, kind of bored with what he's always done that's been successful, but they have been a little bit more pure drop back since he's had Purdy there. To me, that their offense clicks when they get their outside run game going, and then they can build off of that. That's when that just becomes a nightmare, because I don't think, think about one-on-one route winners. I don't think that's really how they're built. They're built to run after the catch with the ball in their hands, to put defenders in trail positions, and you do that by messing with their eyes. I know that Purdy is a really good player, and he's proven he can, win on some traditional drop back, but I think that makes them easier to defend when they do that. So I'm kind of curious to see how they do come out in this one.
Is DK Fernando Tatis?
Just enormous home run hitter, high energy that can spread to the rest of the team. I haven't seen Fernando fumble yet, but I guess it's a fair comparison.
Well, he fumbled away a lot of games, but he was unavailable for some stretches. I would say he kind of say he did that, right? That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just enigmatic, right? Just a little bit like, oh my gosh, just bigger than life. And you said it to us a couple weeks ago. When he hits a home run, the whole stadium is energized. When DK catches an 80-yard touchdown, when DK runs through three guys, right? When DK is uncoverable, it energizes the whole building, and I think the team as well. And yet, back-to-back weeks with just critical fumbles, penalties have been an issue in the past. Is there, maybe it's hard to compare and contrast baseball players to football players, but is there another gear for DK to hit?
I think so, and we've talked about it. The things that he does as well as anyone, and that's just running by people and using his speed power combination, as a big play merchant, and whether that's getting him underneath or getting him over the top. I think there's still refining. The one thing I would say is a little different between doing a cross sport comparison. I would say that Fernando is kind of, he's the baseball 5-tool guy. Like, there's no hole in his game. He's had his issues off the field, but in terms of that, he's about as complete as it gets. I think DK's strengths are phenomenal, but I think there still is polish to come there in terms of some of this route running polish. So that would be the only difference there. But I do agree 100%. I think there's certain guys in every sport that are able to channel energy from the crowd and then also bring energy to the crowd. That's not something you typically talk about in the scouting world, but I think it's 100% real. And I think you have to have guys like that on your team, and he is that guy.
DJ, 10 quarterbacks drafted in the first round plus one pick for Will Levis. We'll throw him in the list just for now. 10 guys drafted in the last 2 years in the first 33 picks of the draft. As you look at things today, 7 of them have played, 3 of them have not. How many would you want on your team?
Well, we got to go through them here this year. So, we haven't seen, who are the guys we haven't seen?
We haven't seen Penix, JJ, or Drake May.
Yeah. I'm excited about all those guys. I don't think you'll see it from Drake May this year just because they're so awful. They are terrible up front. So I would withhold any expectation with him, but I do like him. I think he's going to be good in the long run once they build up around him. Of the guys from this year's group, the top two guys, I mean, you've seen Caleb come on the last couple of weeks. Jaden's been awesome from the jump. I know that you're all in on Bo Nix, so
Not.
I mean, excited about that one. I think he's a TBD.
But I like the way he runs, and I do like that he got back at Sean Payton. I mean, I'm willing to give the man some credit. I just don't think he's got the kind of downfield arm you're going to need eventually. And
he's got a little personality to him, more so than I even really knew going through the draft process. But we got to put him in the TBD category.
Where are you at with Anthony Richardson?
I'm not. I'm a little worried there. Just the sample size was so small, and while the talent is immense, like just in terms of the arm strength and the athleticism, it's not. Some of his issues, I just don't think. And Brock, I'd love to get your thoughts on this, but there's elements of the game where you can look at it and say you need to play more and see more, and that will get better. Caleb's a great example of that. The more he plays in an NFL offense against NFL defenses, he's going to see more, and he's going to get better. When you lack, touch, timing, accuracy, I just don't know, the more you play, the more experience you get. I don't think that necessarily eliminates those concerns.
Yeah. Just that precision. Right, you just watch these guys, and it's a little bit kind of the DK too of just being a technician, absolute precision. And I think sometimes when you've got an amazing gift, and he's got he threw a 65-yard ball in the air flat-footed this year for a touchdown. Like when you have that, sometimes the rest of that just hasn't been developed through the years because your just raw talent is that special. We got you for just about another minute here, DJ. Last question for me, and Mike Macdonald dropped this on us on Monday, and I loved it. He said, methodologies change, right? There's methodologies and what we do that do change. Schedule can change, some scheme can change, but the principles of what we are have to be unwavering. Kind of back to your Mike Tomlin, right? That conviction, those principles. Yeah. What do you think in the big picture, and in particular tomorrow night, like the principle of the Mike Macdonald program that you want to see come to life against your division foe, your rival, the bully on the block that you've got to beat? Like, what is the principle that we're going to see, the very essence, conviction of a Mike Macdonald team, you think, moving forward?
I honestly think it's playing the game on the other side of the line of scrimmage defensively. I think that has to be kind of the hallmark of who they are. It's what his side of the ball, his expertise is. It's how they've played, and I think that bleeds over to the offense. Yeah. But I think it comes with attacking. It comes with making tackles for loss. It comes with sacks and pressures. It just comes with setting the standard for the game that we are going to play on your side of the line of scrimmage, not on our side of the line of scrimmage. And that to me that's what that brand of football looks like. If you've watched the Ravens play, that's how they've played for the last 20 years, and that's in the DNA of Coach Macdonald. So that to me is where that starts. It starts on defense, and it starts on playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage.